I think that we need to do at all times. Hi guys, it's Shanny with Healing Elements. We're going with the flow. And I'm so glad to finally be back in like real life. It's been a while. It went a lot of different things for me, but we'll bore you with that. Big, huge tooth surgery and unfortunately death in the family. And so I was definitely purposely not depressive, but in a little funk. How about you, my love? I've not talked to you for so many subjects that I've been wanting to ask you about the cool write up. I don't know if we've talked about that. I can't remember, but your involvement with, the tragedy. It's Denver or Aurora. What are they calling it? The fires again? It was called something specific.
It's the Marshall fires.
Marshall.
And it was in Superior and Louisville, Colorado. So over by Boulder.
That's so crazy. I just found out a good friend of mine lives there. I thought that he doesn't live there anymore. And it's funny because he's born a day before me. What up, Xander? And then I found out that somebody also that I went to school with is moving there. And they were saying, she was saying that it's like so liberal that it's the new California. And I know we've talked about I saw my mask. I know we've talked about the leniency and I think the advocacy, which is great about exploring different methods, like ketamine or psilocybin for the use of, anxiety and depression. So I think that I know pot's legal out there. So I think that, yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know what that angle was, but I'm like, I'm going to talk to Britney and ask like how she feels if it's liberal or not. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel as far as like diversity and like, allowances and things like that?
I guess hello, what? Maybe I need more coffee. Here.
I was going to say, girl, that's probably why I'm not making sense. I have one of those jam-packed things where I did a reading this morning and then I went to get Alyssa's prescription and then I got to go to the interview. It's going to be my third job because I just can't go with the freelance only because it's just, I'm getting nervous as far as like a solid like paycheck income. So I decided to just go local, like so that I can have selling the stuff. I sell stuff. I don't know if I told you, like just began to craft stuff, the pictures I send you, but not always Valentine's Day, just usually astrological. And I'm selling them on the websites online and then I do the readings, but it's like, I don't know. I just really feel like that nervous and I never get that way. I just feel that nervous sensation. Like I would rather have like a steady paycheck and not have to rely on, because I thought it would be way more like, what do you call those, monetization revenue or whatever, you know what I mean? Once I got there. And so it's fine. I'm love working. I love people. So it's at Home Depot. So I'm stoked about that because I used to work for like a supply company, Fastenal, with building supplies. So it's like some sort of assistant manager for just that department where contractors will come in. So it's not like the whole public up at a cashier, but I would still do that. So that is at 11 my time. And so, yes, I obviously, before I go in there, even though this is coffee, I need some more of this.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. So sweetheart, what has been going on? I have a lot to tell you personally too, like about just, my daughter. That was another thing. Both of my daughters were dealing with some things. My eldest never has, succumbed to throughout the COVID or her whole life, like with depression and anxiety. And she just finally, it got to her. So it's been, good that she's advocating for herself. And like, she's 23, so I don't want to spill her beans. Who knows who comes on here? I doubt anybody, but I was proud of her because like, we always are open and talk about how cumbersome and hard that is, and so I'm glad she got on something called, I had to pick up Wellbutrin.
I just started that.
Oh my God, that's what, I highly recommend it because I never was into the pharmaceutical thing, but after the suicidal ideation I got in 2018, I said, okay. And I went on that and I did have a very subtle effect. And the thing is, it was good for me quitting alcohol too. They say it helps with cravings and she wants something for food, like cravings. And so, when did you start? She was like only like about 3.5 weeks now. So are you brand new?
About 2 weeks ago.
Okay, that's so cool because yeah, we'll talk offline, but she went to a couple of other appointments or whatnot for other things. So I'm glad that she's just advocating for herself. But the thing is, that's like a regulator, right? It doesn't really take effect in your system for like 4 to 6 weeks. That's how it works, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
it seemed like to me, the doctor seemed like it would go quicker because she prescribed me 100 milligrams, and then she made an appointment for like a week and a half out to see how I was doing.
Okay.
So
another question, I guess, which would be good for Alyssa. Did it make you nauseous, or is it making you nauseous?
No.
Okay. I think that might be obviously like to do with everything, like her nerves and other things too, because you know these youngsters, they get on there and she's like, "Oh no, mom, I saw in a Reddit group forum about it that people do get nauseous." You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, but so she's really good about checking all her reviews.
Anxiety though.
Yes, I told her, and it's interesting because throughout my life she had watched me and kind of been that real strong person. Sometimes will get an attitude like, psst. But now like to see her humbled, it just cracked my heart, because she was saying all the symptoms that we know well about the racing heart, feeling like you can't breathe. She even went to the ER because she didn't know that it was correlated, thought maybe it was like breathing or asthma, but that horrible feeling where it just, you kind of hold your breath, and just her chest was also hurting. They gave her an EKG twice, but it's definitely anxiety. And that's why I'm glad that we speak about it and advocate, because my dad, even the toughest guy in the world, when he was young, like, I don't know, 35, youngish, he went to the hospital stereotypically thinking he was having a heart attack, and he was having an anxiety attack because it was, it causes pain sometimes in people's chests. So yeah, I'm like totally curious how it will work out for you, because that's the only one she takes, but she's really,
how is her anxiety going? Like being on it.
She said she thinks she might feel a subtle, and I think that's what Wellbutrin did for me too. It's like this subtle type of, maybe a little bit of a relief. She even when they went to the ER, she's never taken any kind of drugs in her life. So they offered her, like a Xanax, lorazepam, Ativan. And she said that worked very slightly. But then as soon as the anxiety came back, she said it's not worth it for her to take that kind of stuff because it just comes on so much. But so I think it's a little bit better, but she did have, about a week ago, like she just has some symptoms of insomnia, and just feeling very anxious, and waking up at the same time, like at 2, and then not being able to go back to sleep until like right about now, she'll whatever, like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And just, she definitely has thoughts like that she hasn't had before, as far as like, when she tries to calm down, you know how that is. You beat yourself up, especially when you're like us, like we're like, we can do this. And so it makes it kind of manifest even stronger, because you're like, I should be able to control this. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah. I'm curious though, how it, have you felt any kind of subtlety like that yet or no? Oh, someone is on here.
I noticed right away, I felt better, and I felt like I had more energy.
Okay.
But I also felt more anxious.
Okay. Well, shit. Okay.
So that's what it's supposed to do. And that's why she prescribed it to me, was because I wasn't, I'm not getting the stuff I want done. And that's like part of my depression. So she's thinking my depression is more on my dopamine, and that hits your dopamine levels.
Okay.
So she said what would happen is you would get the energy at, spike, and then it might cause anxiety at first, because it is stimulating you. So it's going to cause a little anxiety, but it should come off after a couple of days. And then it should be fine from then
on. Is that because of the dopamine release that it kind of gives you a little bit like, okay.
Yeah. And then you feel like, and then you kind of feel like that's, it makes you anxious, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like
it's
your
just
body.
almost like adrenaline, right? Like it just feels like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you, because that's where I definitely felt, and I'm one of those people, I will go and ask, I'll advocate. But during that whole thing with the overwhelming circumstances after the death, oh my God, like it was like a period of 5 days where I was noticing that I'm like, oh, I'm not even motivated to get up and brush my teeth. I mean, I wasn't feeling sorry for myself, but the grief period and just everything that had happened and other things that are, personal and just a struggle right now, that just, you know how life is. You just revisit some cycles and things like that. And so I really felt like the same as you just said, as if you can notice that. And I think it's good that we catch those things. So I'm glad, I'm proud and happy that you caught yourself. Was it little things like that, like brushing the teeth, or was it like big events, or what were you having trouble, you know, like doing or not doing?
Well, for a while, it's been almost everything. Like, I mean, I shower a lot less frequently than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I write it off as, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just in the house, not really doing anything. So why do I need to shake or shower? You know, that kind of thing.
That's what I was doing. But then we know, we're like, wait, but I was before when I wasn't having these kind of feelings. You know what I'm saying? Same
Yeah.
thing. Same thing. Because, you know, I was happily, not because I wanted to have people look at me, I was happily getting my yoga clothes on and doing all my showers, and even love to take one later in the evening to make it feel better. And then, yeah, I noticed a drop off. And I would want to say, I wanted to ask you and go all the way back, because it's been, I mean, we've chatted ourselves, but since, did you think it had anything to do, because I'm revisiting that in March, it's coming up and I'm already feeling it. Did it have something to do with the anniversary death date on Christmas? Did you feel that that may have been a push? Because I know that around that time, that's when, I don't know, I just started noticing it. I'm just wondering if that had, if you noticed that it was around that time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's hard.
I definitely took a big dip in December, and then my psychiatrist was hoping I'd come out of that dip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where my screen is, but come out of that dip. But I didn't really. So that's why she wanted to add that in to see if that would help.
That's cool.
But
yeah, my mom, I think, has it added to a couple of them. I think she's also, if I'm not mistaken, Cymbalta and a couple other ones, to like a mixture. So I mean, I'm proud of, and I'm happy that Alyssa, you know, is willing to try different things. So, you know, sometimes it takes that. And what would she, when you said like, she said to you, let's see if you kind of bounce back up, was she suggesting anything, or she just wanted to see if it was regarding because of that time period and that maybe it would get a little bit less heavy? Is that what she meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, and then, yeah, it was just Christmas and then the holidays and mom's anniversary, all
Girl,
of that kind of stuff.
that is so crazy. Let me tell you, I don't know if I've told you, but Larry, my cousin's husband, who passed away, and he, you know, very close to me, he proposed to her and everything, just us four, me, Aaron, for my 30th birthday, and her and him when he proposed. And he's just like one of those people, dude. He's just not someone who should have passed from this stupid COVID, because he just is like she said it best. She said he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. Like, honestly, he's just one of those people that even when people annoy him, like, you know, my husband a couple times, but he is very lenient. Well, it was weird, really weird, because you know how we've talked about the dates and things. It's my grandma's birthday. He passed on my grandma's birthday. And I'm like, it just is notorious, these things that whether or not, you know, we can flip it, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, we can flip it and say, okay, I'm not going to have a stigma, but you know what, no matter what I've learned after 11 years, it's going to be 11 years in March. I can't believe it, that there is a stigma. You don't have to hate it or beat it up, but hello, every time on my birthday, am I going to remember that that also holds a significance, that I was told my dad is going to die like in a week? Yes. And so for Christmas, I don't, you know, I'm not saying to you to go F it, I'm never, you know, celebrating, but I give you nothing but love and like validation and advocacy, because I cannot imagine, like, just, it is what it is. Like, I mean, trying to have joy on the day that it is, even if it was in July, do you know what I'm saying, is very difficult. Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult. I try, and like we talked about, I go in different, you know, because it's the 11th year. There's been some not good years, but there's been years where I'm like, okay, we're going to celebrate the memorial. I'll have a little bit of a cry. And then there's years like this where maybe some other circumstances go on, or, you know, because I'm not trying to deny my feelings these days, but I just feel it slowly creeping in. And if I didn't know what month of the or calendar day it was, I would know that it's approaching. Does that make sense? Do you ever feel that kind of looming or whatever?
Yeah, like it's weird. I'll start thinking of my grandpa or my grandma, and I won't really notice the date and then I'll put it together, like if I look at my Facebook memories or if I see somebody else post about it, but it'll be like their anniversary or their birthday or their death date.
Right?
And
You just know, like,
yeah, and it's
in your
not that I
soul.
forgot, it's just that I didn't realize the date.
Yeah.
And but it's weird that I think about them during that time. It's
Right?
automatic.
It's
So I
automatic. It's
really
just,
feel
yeah.
like they visit during that period.
Yeah. It's like your soul is knowing that they are soul visiting or whatever we want to call it. I am so like just totally in awe of what has happened to me lately. I won't go off, but I wanted to just tell you that I finally, after having this spontaneous kind of past life regression come on and then doing them on purpose since then, I want to tell you that I don't understand it because you can't in this human form. But I do want to tell you that I did during those visions, I felt seriously as if I understood kind of what you say about time not existing in the other side. You know, that everything is happening kind of all at once and it trips me out. Like I that also sent me, you know, and I had to be real with myself. That sent me into like a weird place because of course, you know, we've talked a million times. I totally think that me and you were in past life. I think that everything's going on. But to have that happen when I wasn't thinking of anything and have it be stronger than any channeling I've ever had. Brittany was like, I was looking at a movie theater. I was mind blown. It did something to me and I was kind of disappointed with myself that it did make me a little bit, like fearful, like, wait, what? I kind of got babyish, like, I got to come back and do this again. You know, I was just like, wait. And then, you know, to be honest, it was like some really heavy stuff, you know, like it's like one of them, the one that I'm talking about was an American Indian girl. And it just is interesting because, you know, my dad died and I felt, I guess, integrating, I felt an abandonment, I guess. And so in this one, the dad, she's real young, like 14, 15, the dad leaves and it's obvious as we go on that the years go by and he has obviously passed away out there. And she's by herself with a horse, like starving. And so it's the most deep thing. And so I, you know, went into a tailspin of getting disappointed at myself that I thought I wasn't at a certain point in my journey that I could be totally okay with it. But after I processed and it started to integrate and I was not allowing the fear and stuff and the weirdness to creep me out. It got better. But yeah, I just wanted to know if you can expand upon that. I know we've talked a million times and there's no way really to describe it. But I do think that that is the case. Like right now, me and you are in the 1400s getting burned at a stake or something. Like, because we're talking like this. Because we're talking like this. I mean, it really is really deep. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, wow. And then I wanted to ask you this because you definitely are vocal about your near-death experience. And so I decided it was so weird, but I decided, okay, this is so deep. I have to tell my family, like, hey, you know what? There is this past life and this horse named Speckled Horse, right? It just sounded like, you know, and so then there was like, you know, the eyeballs, no judgment, but just like, oh my gosh, she's finally like lost it. And so I had to deal with that of like going, you know what, it is what it is. I just felt for a second like, shit, now I'm in this category and I want to go to you and everybody like, dude, go get regressed. I want you to experience this so you like see how real it is. And do you feel that with near-death experience? Do you feel like, man, if I could just like do that Spock thing and show you what I saw, like I just want to have someone experience it so we could just go, wow, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I told my family about it right after mom died because I thought it would help them process everything. And it did not go over well.
Yeah, and that's so disappointing because it's an intimate person you're talking about their own, you know what I mean? Bless
Yeah.
them, but and they're still not ready, right? I wanted to ask you that. I'm thinking that some people just are not going to be in this lifetime right here comfortable with any kind of topic like that. I don't know, but I'm wondering, have they eased into anything? Have they talked to you about mom visitations and dreams, or is it just like a very formal, we don't really talk about that? Like that's how some people in my family about certain individuals are. They just, you don't mention it because you just know, you know?
Well, my my mom always told my sister and I that she would haunt us. And not haunt us like scary, but like haunt
Come
us
back,
to
yeah.
like, so anytime that I have a cool sign, uh, I send it to her.
Okay, that's awesome.
And I think she sent me one, but
That's
she
cool.
doesn't really share a whole lot with me. So I don't know.
But is she receptive when you send her the little messages about yours? That's really cool that you can do that. You know what I mean? Does she say, "Oh, that's cool," or like she's not standoffish about it?
Yeah, she's not. She's cool about it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What sign is she again? When is her birthday?
July 22nd.
Oh, okay. She's like mine, oh girl. She's a Leo. That's my eldest, is a Leo, Alyssa, and then he is a Leo. And it's like, on their time and what they want to discuss. Like, for instance, I guess I was grieving too hard and about the passing, and they said to me, "Don't cry like that when you first talked to Jody, because oh my God, we thought like grandma was dead." I'm like, I can't even cry when I found out, that this happened. So yeah, it's difficult. I think that for these guys, it's like they want to keep things discreet, that kind of vulnerability. I would never see my Leos going on here and being like, "Hey, I'm depressed and I want to take a pill." You know what I'm saying? Like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't look like that. But to each his own, everybody's different. Did you happen to see any of them? How's your dad? Did you happen to see him and all them over in that camp for any of the holidays or anything like that recently?
Nope. I haven't seen any of them. I think we messaged each other for the holidays.
Yeah.
It's been a blur.
Yes. Yeah.
I got semi famous here locally for a little bit with the fire thing that I'm doing. We extended our missing persons to help search for the missing pets. So we
that
were
was
in
amazing,
a couple
by the way. I like teared up. I wanted to ask you something. So what is the have you found any, I know that you told me that one time about the poor dog who was in the kitchen, but have you had any kind of things that have come up as of late since I haven't talked or caught up or whatnot? Is it still ongoing? Are you still like looking for the animals still right now?
So so far we've done 33 families.
Okay.
And out of the 33 families, we think 9 of them, 9 different families had a pet or pets get out of the house.
Oh, okay. Because the body wasn't found in the structure, is that why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or there wasn't any cadaver smell,
okay.
like deceased body smell. The fire was so hot. It was started by a coal mine underneath.
That's what they figured it out to be, because I know last time we talked, they said it might have been a purposeful, but it was a coal, like a natural coals that were underneath the earth.
I believe it was the coal mine that's underground. It has been on fire, and it started on fire, like up on the ground, and with the wind, it just took it.
Right.
And
that day was like, oh.
It was so hot that, I mean, the smaller the animal, the less likely you're going to find any remains.
Okay. What about the smell for the dogs? Is it the heat? Does it ruin anything regarding them being able to point to what they feel is a cadaver, or?
No, it doesn't do anything. So that's what we were doing was, if families would call and say, "We don't think our animals got out alive. Can you at least give us some closure?" So we would go and we would point out where we think in the room it might have been, and then sifting through, if they decide to sift through their remnants of their rubble, because nothing was there. I mean, they're getting little fragments of things,
just
but
like
if
ash or what? Just like little chunks of black and just gone,
or
everything.
concrete, or brick, whatever. But they're sifting through for jewelry, stuff like that. If
That's
they want to
interesting. I don't know the heat. I mean, it's off topic, but you said jewelry. Is that because certain metals will not, like, I know gold like melts down, but certain metals maybe they don't melt down, they'll stay as is, or just they're hoping for a miracle?
Well, so some of the metal I think melts, but it'll like
Cool.
yeah.
Form like a little
So then they
pile.
still
Okay.
have the metal at least,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
like they still have the diamonds and stuff.
Yes, of course, right? Because diamonds, of course, you can't. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that is sad about the 9. So are you saying that out of 33, the rest of them actually, unfortunately, they did find out that their pets were deceased?
Yeah.
Oh my God, girl. That's a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's just, I mean, who even knows how many people, I'm assuming because the article, like hundreds, right? Thousands of people lost a pet, right? Like it was in the thousands.
Yeah, that over I think it was 1,009 homes or
That's
something like that.
that's what I thought I read or looked at the news thing that you said. So that is, I mean, if you want to even go with, I'm sure more than half had a pet. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, I thought that I saw, did I see that on your link that they did find out that a person passed away?
Yeah, I think 2 or
Oh,
3 people did.
oh. It's so terrifying. It's been so crazy. I didn't even did I text you when that day? That was one of my days where I'm like really the volcano made me so sad because I was obviously grieving already in a place of, and I'm like I could not imagine how it would feel to be on an island. The volcano just blew, and then you have the cable, the Wi-Fi, and the phone thing cut off under the ocean, and you just can't talk to anybody. I mean, I was like thinking, okay, there's some hardships that people are going through, including the fire. That was nuts because I mean that is scary. We had to almost evacuate only once when the California fires, but that is just such a, like when you were telling me that, I felt the nerves. I'm like, oh, that's really serious. You know what I mean? You have to evacuate, and then it's like I always feel bad for the people who do evacuate. They have no home, and then you're just in like this big center with cots everywhere, and it's just difficult. You know what I mean? I just want to validate how things like that, people say, oh yes, I was evacuated, but it's a big deal. You know what I mean? It's like, it's traumatizing is what it is.
Well, one lady I was talking to said that that was her home. She was counting on for retirement, and then she was going to sell it after like 2 or 3 years and then get a smaller place, and that's what she was going to do to retire. And now, I mean, they literally are walking away with nothing.
I was just going to ask you, is something going on like it did in California? Is it a debacle where they're not paying out because they're going bankrupt, the insurance companies, or is it different?
I have no idea. I'm
It,
hoping. I mean, they're
I,
still in the early stages of all of it, so
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
not sure what all is going on. There's some people that are selling the burnt charred lot as is.
No way. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just so terrible. Can you imagine, like, honestly, just, it's so crazy what you have. You don't know what you have till it's gone. And I know that's lame to say, but it's so true because, like, for instance, what if your house or my house burned down and that was what, a month ago? No, 2 months ago? How long ago? About 6 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, but it's like, where, like, okay, the house burns down. People don't have like endless money to go to a hotel. You have no stuff. You got to go get your clothes. You got to go get all this. It's like, where are the people still at little centers? I just feel my heart goes out. Excuse me. That's another thing. I've been wheezing. I've been having to take my inhaler for the first time in a long time. And so I started to think about, well, I wonder if that is a little side effect from getting the COVID in September. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's been going on. So if I cough, it's not that I'm sick. It's just the asthma.
Right.
But oh my gosh. So that is a lot of people that are displaced. You know what I mean? Like that's a
Yes.
lot of homes, dude. And the reason why I say about the fire that did happen here, because PG&E, whatever, it was a lot of people, if they didn't have some sort of special clause, because they don't have separate insurance here that is for home and fire. It's like home is included with fire, but then you have to buy the earthquake separate because it's more expensive. Well, there's some sort of clause, and it rang bullshit. It's saying bullshit to me. I was like, wait, what? So half of the claimants just like that woman, well, we were gonna do this, but now we have no asset. And it's like, come on, insurance companies, you guys make a fortune. And they did that. When was the Loma Prieta earthquake? I think it was in the 90s or early 2000s, the one in LA. What happened is so many houses were damaged, and the people did have earthquake insurance. They said, we're sorry, we're going under, so we can't pay. And I'm like, yep, they're asked out. Like they pay all this money to the insurance and they're just asked out. So there's a lot of stuff that people like are going through right now. What about the Canada thing? Oh my God. The Canada like
thing.
the whole, like the truckers have been on that bridge forever, blocking like the main route of transportation to protest the mandates of the COVID shot. And they like brought their
I
kids
am
and
out of
stuff.
touch.
Oh, I'm out of touch too. I just, you know what? I cannot watch the news. I'm giving myself that because I felt like,
What
why
about
would I?
Bob Saget? Did you hear about Bob Saget?
Yes, we're crushed because dude, that's a trigger because I used to watch that a lot every Saturday or whatever it was with my parents. Loved America's Funniest Videos. And it's interesting. So does my daughter. And I don't know why she thought that he was a drug overdose, like a cocaine, but she said just the other day he had an autopsy and it was not. It was something. I forgot what she told me.
So
Let me decline that as my mom. Sorry, I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. Let me put. But okay, so she said it was some. Oh, he bumped his head. That's what it was. That he bumped.
No. So I just read a thing yesterday.
Okay.
And it said that, so the autopsy said that he bumped his head and went to bed, and it was consistent with a concussion, and it was accidental or whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
There's doctors and there's other coroners out there. I think they're called coroners, whoever.
Yeah. Like Dr. Baden, like the coroner who will investigate it. Yeah, and see what the cause of death was. Yeah.
They are saying that the bones that were fractured in his head were consistent with more like the people they would see
trauma or something like
with,
that.
yeah, like with a baseball bat, or like if you fell 20 feet downstairs.
Even having a broken skull, that doesn't make sense for you would just go to bed and think you have a concussion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
They said even if he hit his head that hard, it would hurt so much. There's no way he would go to bed.
Right? Okay,
So
I did not hear about that.
There should have been foul play looked at.
What the hell? So where was he? I think my daughter said at a hotel, right? He was like on a business trip or something. Okay. What in the world? I did not know that. I thought that was odd when she told me, for whatever reason. I don't know if he used to have a drug problem or something, but my daughter was thinking before the autopsy that, oh, he probably had, a cocaine overdose. And then she was not pleasantly surprised, but she's a real, she's definitely sober and a square. So she's like, oh, I'm so glad that he wasn't, on anything. But she goes, did you know that can happen to people? And she explained about that. About the concussion, I guess blood swells, but no, there was broken skull bone. That's major. What did he?
Yeah, it was like one here and then one back here, and it was like, yeah, they were not consistent with. Yeah,
they should get that Dr. Baden. He used to do that HBO special or whatever, where he like looks into special anomalies that are, kind of undecided, but then one coroner just says it one way. I love those ones that they kind of investigate, and look into the real meat of it. So, okay, so where did they think that then he fell to hit his head? It's not making sense. Obviously, they think it should have been a farther drop, I guess, but what do they think he hit his head on is what they're...
I have no idea.
They don't know? Oh my gosh. That's just...
he could have hit his head anywhere.
I guess. That's just so random. It just makes you, it just makes you feel like, of course, as we know, today you could be going to the different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. Like the way that some things go fast. I don't know. It's not that I was used to COVID, but I literally thought for some reason, some stupid reason, that I had got out of, jail free card, that kind of thing. Like I thought, okay, my family, no one died, and because 2020, I was like, oh my God, people were dying, like an old schoolmate of mine. I'm thinking, well, I hope it doesn't hit my family, of course. And then 2 years later, it just is so odd because it was just like those reports in the beginning. It was so quick, Britney. It was fever, don't feel good. Oh, can't go to work. Let's go to the hospital. 12 hours later, a blood clot from COVID. And, it's just really kind of it's not inducing fear in me. It's inducing a bunch of emotions like we've talked about before. I'm not resentful at all. People have their own freedom of choice, but it just bums me out that people would still say, that this thing isn't real and things like that. And so I had to revisit all that, which also disappointed me because I'm like, you're way past that. But, right. I could see how it would hurt someone so bad, Britt, if if you would have passed and then people are around me saying that it's non-existent, things like that, so it's just, it's a lot. Oh my gosh. And it was crazy because they, they wore their masks and stuff, but they went to a crowd feed. That's what they think that he got it at. And it sucks. It went through, my whole family. So her only sister, my cousin Jody, the one that is on October 1st, that I always say that you guys are like same. And I love her. She's like, they're my best friends. I didn't have any brothers, sisters, but, her son is Deanna's age, and he couldn't go to the funeral because the day of the funeral, he comes down with the fever. So everybody like dominoes got the COVID, and they're definitely vaccinated. I don't think it matters at this point, just because of my experience, just seeing us vaccinated and then the difference of symptoms and how, Aaron was like 70 oxygen, and it just was bizarre. So I think that, there's no way to tell either what kind, whether it was the original Corona, the Delta, or the Omicron or whatever. So, because they're saying that Omni one is not as bad, but this one was like, they described it like my cousin Diana. That's the thing. She had to wait for the funeral. I think she had to wait, but I know for a fact the next day tested positive and got really sick. When she talked to me, she said, she's like one of those people. I love her, but I admire her for this spunk. She is always going. She definitely is efficient. She runs through Dignity Health, she like runs a huge team of people. And so for her to be in bed, she said she didn't know if it was obviously a mixture of absolute devastation plus being sick, but she said she literally has never felt that sick, fever, the whole 9 yards and all that. So I was like, the things that, and it just broke my heart, because those things you cannot say or do anything to take it away, just like, life is. But I was imagining myself in that position, man, like her over 20-year partner. And then, he has 3 kids. She has 1. It was a blended family. They loved him to death. So dealing like as the matriarch, and then also sick with that COVID, because the COVID in my experience, it does something to your mentality while you're sick. It makes you feel not only just delirious, like a real bad flu, but something odd. There's something, I called it to my mom and she agreed, like a natural or something. I'm not saying anything conspiratorial, but I felt more emotionally compromised when I had it. And I was doing really well and peppy and positive at the time, and I didn't even get it that bad. But Alyssa also said that, Aaron was also saying that, we called it like the COVID brain scramblies. I was like, it was a really just an odd thing to experience it for ourselves. So I felt like, that was another layer that I'm like, man, it's just crazy. So when you were sick the last time, when you were like sick, did you not have COVID? You tested and stuff, or you just didn't test?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't remember? You know what? They were running out of tests here. I don't know if it was like that over in Colorado, but it was like this for real. I would go to get whatever I need at the CVS or the Safeway. There was, I swear to God, not exaggerating, 10 people every 5 minutes coming in looking super rushed and asking the checker in front, did you guys sell out already of the test? And then they're like, yep, this morning at 9 o'clock, people were like waiting, like they were in toilet paper for test. And so I don't know if that was because they needed a negative result or they were worried about being sick, but it's calmed down since then. That was the peak of it. So for about a week and a half, maybe, it's been, you can go and you see them just chilling. And they put the prices down. When it was really crazy, it was like $40 a test. And I'm like, these people are ripping people off. And now it's 10. I'm like, just the supply and demand shit makes me mad, because this is like people's lives, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, you need it really bad, let me just rise the price. It's like so bad.
This is like not a good segue, but kind of a good segue into the next like kind of topic.
Yes.
But I had a couple of announcements.
Yes. Okay.
So one, the little boy I talk about that got the organ from the other little boy that I know.
Yes, the one who was autistic, unfortunately, and killed himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he donated the others. Yes.
Yeah. So he unfortunately passed away.
No, Britney.
Yeah.
Britney.
Yeah.
Britney, that is like terrible. That is something that would add 5,000 layers. I know that you're close with his mom. Are you kidding me? What is it? Something that we can talk about?
I can't remember if it was Valentine's Day or the day before, but he
just
passed.
Now?
Yeah.
I am so sorry. You know that if it is Valentine's Day, my aunt passed on Valentine's Day, and that ruined it for my uncle, who is the cousin I'm talking about, dad. So we always had these little intricacies that I believe, are just not anomalies. But are we able to say how he passed?
The doctor said that there wasn't anything else that could be done for him. So he started to, they just focused on his life, making him comfortable. So
So he was on hospice at the end?
Yeah, he went home and they kept him comfortable, and he wasn't really eating, but they took him to a couple of restaurants, and he slept most of the time. And I guess the last couple of days he was in a coma type state, and yeah, he passed.
I am so genuinely sorry. And I mean, that also is what's been tearing me up, because I always, of course, me and you, we had a parent pass. And so, I know that it's a little bit, I don't know if it's different because of your dad, how it was a divorce situation or whatnot. For Aaron, I think it was a little different when he lost his dad, because, it was since he was 2 years old, he's been, his dad has a new family, and he was not living in the environment. But the thing is that was so, as you know, so tough on a soul, sensitive soul, or whatever you want to say. I mean, it is tough. I always say, oh my God, to have those realistic things that we had to deal with in the aftermath or whatnot of it, having it be like, let's say, an intimate person like you and your sister, or me and my, God forbid, my child or my cousin or my partner, like if your ex-husband or whatnot. I just really want to give a shout out to the strength that takes to get through that. I do not want to know. I hope that the mom is having moments of signs, synchronicities, and strengths. But really, when you're going through grief, I was trying to tell my kids it's different, because, I was saying, mommy is spiritual. Mommy knows that there is an afterlife. I know it's beautiful and everything, but the physical self that is without that person and dealing with this human behavior of grief is not the same thing as being faithful and understanding that we're going to see these beautiful souls again. It's very, very difficult to separate those two, but it's separate. And what I have chills all over what she must be going through, and if the father is involved too, I don't know, but that is heartbreaking. And you know what, I just got obviously a channel right when you said it. Is the neat thing is, I bet you they'll come through to you together to show you at some point. They'll come and give you a sign and be like, look, we're both whole, we both have like the quote unquote the soul body organs or whatnot. I know that they obviously are connected, and that is just a shame. And if he was suffering, that is something I can say with my dad. It's really tough because, it's different when people pass suddenly, like Larry, or my dad. It just was so bad at the end where the lung cancer I did not know. People have to like that, go comatose and suffocate and just have a whole bunch of stuff that, they're just looking at you like, please, like, I'm done. This is so miserable. So it's just tough. I could not imagine seeing your son suffer like that. And I'm really sorry. And that is what I mean. I guess that, I knew it was kind of creeping up this time that we would be overwhelmed. And I know that I'm going to be on later with Jessica. She wants eventually to get a call, and we'll all talk, because it just seems like everybody literally that I've been able to talk to, which is very few, because I've been I had to pull back, is an overwhelming set of circumstances, not just one kind of major thing. It's just been like a domino effect. When it rains, it pours kind of thing. So that bummed me out, like literally in my heart. I just feel, I feel the hurt. That is really, really, really terrible. Okay. That's okay about the segue. That is beautiful that you need to say that. And I'm honoring like his soul. And he was able to live more years because of that donation of the organs, right? That's what enabled him to. Okay. I don't know how long, but I remember that story and I'll never forget it. Like I totally think that is just amazing. And that's just okay, babe. So did you have? Did you say announcements with an S?
Yes.
Like, do you have another? Okay, what is it? A sad one or happy? Oh no.
Both.
Okay. I'll take that.
The missing Saza Lee from Longmont that we did on our whatever, the bicyclist. He was finally found.
Okay. He was found, you mean? Like there's
his remains were found.
Oh my God.
But at least he was found.
Closure. Yeah, closure. Like you said, it's good and bad. That is such a bummer. And you know what? I give you such like credit for working in the environment. That's just like me wanting to work at hospice. I really do. But you're working around death and the thing that would remind you, or you know what I mean? Like it's just that is hard. That is so hard. And plus, you know, I've been thinking about this lately. Did you hear about speaking of death, the Miss America? She jumped off of a building in New York, and a lot of people have been, yeah, a lot of 20 somethings have been killing themselves. And Regina King, I don't know if you know that actress. She was on, I never watched it, but Empire. She was best friends. They had matching tattoos. Her son was like 26 and he killed himself too. And then he was all jolly, like on his last Instagram post. You just never know that people are suffering so bad. And also you never know what somebody else may be up to. Like, I mean, I can't imagine what it is, foul play or not, but regardless, it is a sad, tough time. And then we have all that Russia crap going on. And I'm just like, yeah, trying to, I'm glad I forced myself though to get on here, especially because before the interview, I'm just like, I have got to get myself out of the rut. At least we're like making steps which are in the right direction as far as like, that's awesome about the Wellbutrin. I'm feeling relieved as far as like one of the things. I don't think it's over or much better, but her being on something and then going to a doctor and care and the therapist just recently, I know that at least she'll continue to, I'm hoping. So I am stunned. I don't know why it affected me so much. What was his name? I don't want to say little boy because he was a teenager, right? That passed away. What is his name?
Triton.
Okay, Triton, like Neptune and Triton, like yeah. Triton. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that affected me when you said that. I'm like, wow, I don't know why, but whenever you talked about him, I felt a real strong spiritual sense from both of those young men. Just, you know, the choice, if you guys out there believe in soul contracts or that you plan out these plans, I feel like those are the bravest ones that are like, you know what, I'm gonna come down here and be young, and you know, the other people who are left with that hole in their heart and also that they have to deal with that. I was just thinking about that whole thing, of course, because she's the youngest out of all of us. She's like, you know, the youngest cousin. And I'm like, oh my God, that is her life path. You know, just one day, not that she was like, you know, I'm ungrateful or anything, but just one day she's 40, you know, and I'm about to be 45. And so it's really, really hard to describe to people because they think that you're being like a Debbie Downer or you're trying to go into a dark place on purpose, or I don't know how to really express that, but it's like until you're faced with everything changing overnight, not just logistically, of course, but you're habitual. Like she said she'll like pick up the phone, you know, to like send a text, or the dog, Britney. Oh man, I'm going to start bawling. Britney, you'll like this story, but it will tear you up. They have a husky, okay? And they weren't really like people prone to animals. They liked them. She grew up in a household of dogs, but they just had kids, and I don't know, they were go-getters. So they would go boating and not really a family to have dog. Well, check this out. During, I think, COVID, yeah, when I got Mochi, it showed up, this puppy, at their door, like just showed up. So then they put signs around, and I think something like they picked the dog back up or something crazy, and it ended up coming back to them when the people said, here, we can't take care of it. Something like that. I'll have to ask her. But it was one of those stories where she told me back, you know, then like in 2020 or 21, I'm like, you were meant to have that. But the point is, she is not like a cheesy person, but they, I guess, were like all of us. We just love our babies, you know? And she would send me videos of like it eating lettuce and doing all this stuff. Okay. So it, of course, was asking every night, howling, you know, going into the bed, sleeping with her because he wasn't coming home. And how do you tell, you know, really tell? And so for the funeral, his brother asked her, did you want me to drive his truck? Like he always drove you places, and I'll drive the truck to the funeral. And so they went out, and the brother started the car and the dog started like totally just crying from the house because he thought that it was Larry starting the truck. And so just these stories are just tearing me up. Like just, she sends a picture the other day of, and just his posture, just the dog's posture. I feel it off of the animal, you know, I'm sensitive like that. I could care less if people think I'm batshit crazy, but I'm truly telling you, it's those little things that bring you closer to God or whatever you believe in, because you see within another soul, an animal, what love is and what they're missing. You know what I'm saying? When it's taken away from them. So oh, it was sad.
Girl.
That part was sad. I was like, I mean, everything else was, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, because there's nothing you can do to say, doggy, unfortunately, he passed away and we're gonna have to mourn over it. So I imagine that it must be so sad to see him still hopeful, you know? And I was talking to my mom, and my mom said, yeah, you didn't know that Spud did that like for years? I go, what? And she's like, yeah, for 2.5 years, he would think he heard like something, maybe the wheelchair, whatever it was for my dad, and get hopeful and like then whine. And I'm like, that is just heartbreaking.
Even
you
through
know?
a divorce.
Oh, and they say it's like, you know what, girl? They say it's like a death. And I know being close to that in the past and realizing things, it's petrifying how much pain. So that is so sad. I often wonder about the split up of pets because our kids are older. That wouldn't be applicable. But so was it hard to make those kind of choices? Like who wanted to take the dog, or was it hard for one of you guys to see the dog being sad? Is that what you're saying?
No, like
Oh,
I had all the animals, and like to them, it's like he died. I mean, because they never see him again.
for sure. They're sad and asking you, right? They're like, hey, where's John?
Yeah,
Where's
so
Daddy?
like every car, like they go running, like it's Dad.
Yeah,
So
that's heartbreaking. Oh my gosh, look at us. I can tell like on our faces, we're like, can we just get a hug and then fly and then do some
Dude,
ayahuasca to have what?
The other day I had the worst anxiety attack. Like
Did you?
I've never had an anxiety attack like I did. I had to like text people and ask, like I was trying to get like distractions. Like I mean, it was bad anxiety attack. I don't know how I got it in my head, but I got it in my head that I killed Bear.
What did you don't know how you correlated that? It just came on, huh? Because you cannot help what you're going through. About what? Like about food you fed him?
I think it was like the first day or the second day that I took that Wellbutrin.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was just that or if it was just because
everything coming down, right? Like the overwhelming thing. Like maybe that was just like that is so sad, girl. And you felt like that anxiety plus the guilt, and you were just ruminating. Oh my God. You and Alyssa, you know what? I always forget that your main thing, right, was depression, right? Throughout this whole years. And my main thing was those horrible, right? Horrible. You think that you don't know if you're gonna like, it just is out of control, more than uncomfortable. It's petrifying. That's what Alyssa, she was having to completely go around and like play like solitaire and just try to specifically distract herself. And it just would well up. And it just is that I would never wish depression either, but it's weird because they're two double-edged swords. They're different though, right? They're different. And so I forget that you did not really, is that the first like attack, like panic attack that you would call an attack?
No, I've had panic attacks before, but like that was like the ultimate, like if I had to say when I had a panic attack, I mean that one would stand out for sure.
You know what? I really, you know me, I really have to be hippie here and say, Alyssa doesn't want to hear it when I tell her, but I have to say that I think it's odd that both of you are telling me these testimonies, because it may be the collective subconscious energy that's been built up over everything that you and her and everyone have gone through, not just because of COVID, because of your loss and everything else, you know, and then maybe not on purpose suppressed it, but maybe we're also feeling the extreme discord and just nonsense that is going on. And I'm wondering if that is making our reactions worse, because I'll tell you what, I was very surprised at not the anxiety, which is odd, right? You'd think I would have that, but I was very surprised at my depressive type of feelings after those set of circumstances happened. I was going, wow, this is comparable to, unfortunately, after my dad passed, I was just like this, I can't help it. I was literally every 10 minutes, it would hit me that, you know, you go around and you're like, not okay, but you're like, and then it just hits me that my cousin is in her room, you know, 2.5 hours away, just devastated, and that I'm lost him and everything else, that my daughter, it just was interesting how it was, I think the best, simplest way is more impactful. So if you're saying that you've had the most severe one, she was just blindsided by the severity. She goes, I had no idea that it could do this to your physical body. I go, yeah, that is unfortunately what anxiety attacks do, is it goes through your body. And then the more you're trying to control it, at least for me, or, you know, it just builds up, and you really truly have to ride out the wave. And sometimes it can go on, and I'm so sorry, it's no fun. And do you get shaky? Like, I get like really shaky when I used to have anxiety attacks. Alyssa did not. It was more the feeling like in her chest, and just like breathing, and just really, you know, just trying. You could see it in her eyes that she was trying to get through every minute, every second. So yeah, that is a bummer. I don't know. Well, like you said, maybe it was correlated with the pharmaceutical. Who knows?
I think I was a little shaky. I was crying, like I just could not stop crying. I was bawling. I could not stop.
And she doesn't even cry. I was like, oh my God. We needed to purge, I guess, right? You needed to purge and like let it out. Maybe it's just. Dude.
I don't know what my problem was. I got it in my head that I unnecessarily killed Bear.
And then you felt the pain and guilt from that thought?
Yeah, and then I wondered if he would ever forgive me.
Oh, baby. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You saved my whole existence with, like, that story. That's why I, like, contacted you. Not just because of that, just because everything else connected. I'm like, oh, my gosh. No, I know her. I love her. But that is so sad. And I bet you he has been trying to, oh, my gosh. Let me think. Hello. Hello, people. I almost grabbed Mochi. I didn't. Oh, my gosh. Hello. Hello. Oh, my gosh. I love them. And you know what, Brittany? I'm telling you. Saves our lives, those little guys. Like Bear is probably like going like this, Mom, don't you think that, again, like he's probably like not mad at all, but he's probably like, are you kidding me? You're like the best mom ever. And like, oh my gosh, let me give you licks when I get you up there again. I'm just gonna give you like the best. Like I can't wait to communicate with animals, you know, when I pass. And I know it's like far-fetched, but at this point I am so far down the rabbit hole. I'm just gonna be like, this is how it is. This is how it is, my experience. But yeah, that is so sad, and I'm sorry, because that must have been traumatic, because you not only had the anxiety attack, you're also feeling like shitty, like a shitty pet parent to someone who is passed. This is a lot, like a lot, you know. And I don't know. I just cannot tell you how much that I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but it's dreary and sad. And I cried a couple times for you, like on maybe the day before Christmas and Christmas Day, just thinking about you doing my little dishes, cooking, you know. I'm like, gosh, the pain of the weird, like I said, the days, you know, like my birthday and then my grandma's birthday for my cousin. It's not like you're like, oh, you know, F off day, you know, you're not like angry, but it's just, it is what it is. It's you know, it's a double kind of thing that you're trying to experience. Like that'd be like if someone told you, guess what? We're having a Christmas Day wedding. You know what I'm saying? And then you went there and you're trying really hard to put yourself in, and you're not miserable for them, but you can't, it's like a distraction. It's like, you cannot, that's the best way I can say it. And, yeah, a couple years there, because people tell you after a while, I hope they never do that to you, but like after the 5th or 6th year, people were telling like me and my mom, if we would have like a really sad experience for the anniversary or his birthday, they were like, you know, not mean, but they're like, come on, guys, you need to honor him and not cry and not make him feel, you know. And I'm like, you guys, you cannot help this feelings that come over you. It just is a distraction that you either give into, or in my experience and my mom's, we would suppress it, and then I would go to the addict stage, and she would go to the suicidal ideation, and then she actually has the thing, she cuts herself. She started doing that, and so self-mutilation, all kind of things. So, you know, what do people want us to do? You know, we have to let it out, I feel, in a way that is not, you know, going to be the death of us, really. You know, it's so sad. Oh my God. Oh, oops. Look at me, girl. 10:38. I was supposed to hop off at 10:20. It's okay. I think because I got paid for a reading, I'm going to take an Uber. It's only 1.8 miles. But see, this is another indication. Usually I would be like hoofing it or whatever. I'm finding it difficult. I probably, since this whole thing, since the first week of January, I would say once every 6 days I'm doing the yoga. And I really enjoyed it. I wasn't even all about like, look. So I've gained about, I don't know. I gain weight really easily and lose it really easily. It's horrible, because it's like the gaining, of course, is like, I want to say probably half the weight that I lost. And so, yeah, I have not been motivated. So I guess I will throw you off. And then I would love to talk more if you're down. I just feel like we're in the same type of, let's just like not whine. Let's just like give each other love, because that's deep. Like that's
sure.
I'm so freaking happy. And I'm going to go there. I'll tell you how it goes. And the only thing that could be possible, and I'll share this with you because you know that I smoke marijuana and it's legal here. I've never had to do that since it's been legal because I had the school district job for so long. I'm wondering how that is, you know, how, because if it's legal, do they test? That's the only thing I would have to worry about. Do they test for something that's legal because it's still considered a drug federally? I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll find out. We'll find out.
I don't know. Oh, I guess we'll learn together.
We will learn together, girl. We'll do this all together, and you made me feel so much better, even though sad announcements, but I'm glad that you announced that, and that is that's really, really too bad. But rest in peace to both of them. You know what I mean? And I will call you. I'll text or call you, and then we'll do this again if you're available, like when I get back.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, bye, sweetheart.
Bye, dear.